Do complex legal issues hold you back? Let's get energized and bring clarity to your top legal questions. This is Law Talk with the Flock by Goosmann Law Firm.
Hello, I'm Gina Goosmann, your host for Law Talk with the Flock. I'm a CEO, lawyer, author, and woman business owner here to help you navigate your way through the law and business. And for today's episode, I'm excited to have with me attorney Anna Limoges. Anna is a Sioux Falls trial lawyer and litigation attorney. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of knowing your case's worth before you file suit. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, Gina. Nice to be here.
You bet. Before we jump into the topic, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, like you said, I practice mostly trial law here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I represent many different kinds of businesses and help them protect their wealth and win disputes in doing so. And today, talking mostly about the winning part and protecting that wealth. And we're going to be looking, I think, a little bit closer at damages. Is that what you said, Gina?
Absolutely. So, Anna, when you're getting ready to file a case or a client is thinking about filing a case, how do they know when they should actually file suit?
Well, first of all, something that you have to have in order to file a lawsuit is damages. Now, damages are different. What it means is what can you get if you won the lawsuit or if you wanted to settle a lawsuit, what have you been injured and what can you prove in the amount of that injury. And there's a lot of different buckets involved in damages. So what we try to do as attorneys is put a worth on each one of those buckets and try to evaluate what it may potentially cost to get to the home plate, so you could say. And that cost would take away from damages, and is it really worth it to go after pursuing those buckets of damages if you're going to end up paying so much for a lawsuit or trying to get to the home base, however that may come about. So
I love it, Anna. So our firm mission is worth it, and that really means driving value to the clients. And some clients, they might come in and say that they want to fight about the principle of the matter, but then if it costs them $100,000 to do so, they might regret that decision. So it's really important that we talk about those things up front, isn't it?
that's exactly right. And I mean, just getting a little deeper into the damages, there's different buckets, like I said. So there's compensatory damages. Those are actual damages. So let's say somebody, for example, took your client and they weren't supposed to because they were a former employee and they had a non-compete and non-solicitation clause, etc., and they took one of your clients and or one of your employees and there's some actual damage there. Let's say they tortiously interfered with the contract. Like, those are some actual numbers that we could maybe come up with, including lost profits. If there's actually numbers involving medical care with regards to emotional distress damages, those are all kinds of actual numbered identifiable damages. There's also a bucket.
What about just being mad? I'm just mad. So how does that factor in?
Well, yeah, because it's not against the law to make somebody mad or to be a jerk, so to speak. You can be a jerk and whatever, and you can do some things that are wrong, and it stinks. And we can sit there and talk about it with our clients and try to figure out if there's some kind of damages. But a lot of times, if you're just angry about something that happened and we don't have damages, then we don't have a much worth to go after to pursue a lawsuit. Really going to cost more than it would be that you would get at home base, basically.
So really you're kind of looking for what in their financials can help support your claims, or Are there certain expenses that the person had that could help support your claims? Is that right?
Yeah, for compensatory identifiable damages. And some of these, some of these details can be found in the general buckets, general damages buckets category too. So that's where you have, future losses. So let's say we look at your current profits for your compensatory actual damages, but then we can look at, okay, well, this customer that former employee stole, we could have made, $2.5 million in the next 5 years if they hadn't have stolen that customer. So at the same time, there's also that bucket of damages as well. And that has to be looked at when you're evaluating the worth of a lawsuit.
You bet. And how about punitive damages, Anna? What can you share with our listeners about punitives? Because clients are always very interested in punitives.
So speaking of if you're mad at somebody, the law gets mad at people too. So if you have certain actions that the law would consider to be malicious and especially nasty and wrong, we can reach out and try to get what's called punitive damages. These damages are meant to punish the other party. So it's a big burden sometimes to go after these punitive damages, but a lot of times it's good. It's a good bucket to add to your lawsuit as long as you know that there's a higher burden to meet.
You bet. So really proving that usually it's that they knew that it was wrong and they did it anyway.
Yes. Egregious.
How can Goosmann Law Firm help evaluate a case and let a client know if they have damages?
So a lot of times what we do is we speak to the client, try and figure out all different parts and pieces of what happened. And then really what we do is we ask the client to share with us their private information, which is then protected by the attorney-client privilege. We look at those profit and losses. We can reach out even before we even take a case. A lot of times we'll reach out and talk to some financial experts and kind of give a general overview of, potentially what we have going on, and, kind of evaluate whether or not we're going to have to hire an expert such as that in the lawsuit. But yeah, most of the time what it is communicating with the client and trying to find those different buckets and working with the client to protect all those different buckets and try to get to home base for them. So.
You bet. And one other thing I just wanted to bring up is a lot of times we hear from clients the lost time that they're going to have to spend in fighting a lawsuit. And how really the law doesn't usually allow you to recoup your lost time, does it, Anna?
No, not unless we can put a number on it. I mean, it would be nice, but unfortunately that kind of falls into the same category as if you're just mad at somebody. But if we can put a number on that lost time, that's another story. But yeah, usually lost time does not have a specific number on it, and that's not technically in any of the buckets to pursue.
And if it's too speculative, that can have the court kick it out as well too, can't it? So even if we have some logic for what we'd value something at, it can't be too speculative.
Exactly. We have to be able to show something, especially towards the very end when they're coming up with a number. They're not just going to come up with some random number. We have to prove that those are the losses that actually occurred.
Outstanding. Well, Anna, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today and sharing your knowledge with everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gina.
Go make it worth it.
Thanks for joining us for Law Talk with the Flock by Goosmann Law Firm. We hope you feel energized and ready to soar past your goals. Become a Flock fan and subscribe to our podcast for weekly episodes. Learn more at goosmannlaw.com.